Okay. Well, I apologize for the late start. Hope everybody's doing fantastic. And let me go ahead and get here. We actually had a networking event this evening, and well, took a little bit of time to get home. So, what I'm going to do right quick is go and load a couple resources. There's a few things that I'd like to talk about this evening. Number one, well, we're going to go over analyzing a market. We're going to talk about what metrics I look for and what price points, how I arrive at the numbers that I arrive at, and how I target the price points that I target. So as we go to do that, I'd love to, kind of get people's feedback. If you have any questions along the process, please give me a call or not a call. Give the questions, comments in the chat, and we're going to dive in. Now, while I do that, I'm going to be honest with you. Still haven't eaten, so I'm about to have this burrito, and yeah, I'm going to load this part of the MLS so that people can start to see what I'm talking about while I go off screen and wolf this down. So let's see. And if I do come back on the screen and I've got like food in my teeth or something, be cool about it. Let me know. Don't just sit there and let me go on for the next 45 minutes to an hour um, and not know about that. Let's see. Cool. All right. So we're going to do this. Michael, hey, man. Actually, I'm going to bring you on the stage right now, brother. Let's get you unmuted, man. How you been?
I've been good, Lee. I was just sharing with you I
Good.
was gonna be eating as well. So
Okay. Well, in that case,
man,
we can both turn off our camera right quick as I share this screen, and then we'll pick it right back up afterwards. Sounds like you on the same hustle that I am. So let's see. We'll do that. Share the screen. Get my window open. There we go. So let's see. Yeah, stop the camera. So while I do that, I'm going to explain a few different concepts of this. And I'm going to try to not talk too much with my mouth full, but you know what, guys? I'm sure that none of you like to eat a cold burrito. So give me a little grace. What I'm doing as I eat is I'm just going to start moving a few things around so that we can see what I'm looking for. And I'll explain it to you shortly. There we go. I'll be ready in about 45 seconds. Okay. Now, I've got that done. We can start diving into the content. So, one of the things that my wife tells me is that I eat like an inmate. And well, I'll be honest, she's not really wrong. So back whenever I was in the casino business, you have 30-minute breaks. And whenever you would go for your meal, still a 30-minute break. So you would leave from where you were working, go up to the cafeteria, eat, and then if you wanted any kind of time to just decompress before you go back in there, you get back downstairs, hang out for a little bit, and then you go. So you learn to eat quick. So anybody that watches this, if you were in the casino business or you have one of those front facing jobs that you had a lot of pressure to get a lot done in a little break, you know what I'm talking about. So you learn to eat quick, and you can enjoy it later. Now, let's talk about some of these fields that I've selected. And the reason why this kind of came up, I've got a coaching client that today was kind of a discovery call. I wanted to make sure that number one, there's somebody that I feel like I could help because I'm not going to take on a coaching client if I don't feel like they'll listen or they'll take the action to do what they need to do to grow their portfolio. With that being said, when I do take on somebody, I try to give at least more than what they pay in monetary value. So as we were running a little close on time, I told them that I would stream this tonight and show them how I analyze a market for determining what price point to target and really what does it look like whenever I'm going into a market. So here it is. I hope that you enjoy it. I hope that you find value in it. And if you're not, anybody that's looking to flip or, well, really, this is kind of their strategy as we're going to start out flipping. So if you're not interested in flipping, this might not be the one for you tonight. However, feel free to, watch and take a look, see what, see what is out there, see what might make sense for you. Now, this is going to be in Shreveport, Louisiana. And as I do this, I'm only looking for single family residents. I'm not looking to do any condos, townhouses. If I did, I would select those property types as well. So you'll see that down here. But I'm only looking to see what is active on the market. I don't care about what's pending, but I do care about what's closed. So if we go back here, we're going to see that there's 754 active listings in Shreveport, Louisiana. All right, that's pretty good information. So if we take this, and I'm just going to put this onto my tablet here so I can keep up with my numbers. $754, and in the last 30 days, there have been 150 closed. Now, this is going to just tell us some basic information. So 754 divided by 150. What this means is that what it means is that we've currently got 754 homes active on the market. In the last 30 days, 150 homes sold across all price points, across all square footage, across all bed and bath. Now, while that's high level information, it's good information to know because the overall market for Shreveport is a 5-month inventory, which means that if another home did not come on the market, it would take 5 months to deplete the active listings on the market at the base rate of 150 homes a month that are selling. So it's good information to know. Now we're going to dive in and get a little bit more specific. Okay. So I see right now that it is a seller's market in Shreveport. Gives me a little bit of confidence to flip over there. Now, the next part is let's look for 3-bedroom homes. So 3-bedroom or larger. And we're going to look for 2 full baths or larger. And we're going to see what that looks like. So in Shreveport, there's 492 homes that fit that criteria. Now, out of those, we've also got 110 have sold. So 110 out of the 150 homes that is sold, the majority, right, of those homes, that is 2/3, a little better than 2/3. Now, if I go back in and I run the numbers on this again, we're going to see 492 divided by 110, and that's a 4.5 month supply. So it's even better. It's moving even better in that price point. So it's a 4.47. So call it 4.5. So we're still trending in the right direction. Are you with me on that? Now, if so, then just kind of give a comment. Say, hey, look, I like it. Where you at with it? Where you going with it? Now we're going to look over into the results. Okay, we're going to see these homes that are here. These are all closed. We're going to maximize as many as I can as far as what they're at, right? Now, this one closed for 1950. Something tells me that it was probably a rental, unless this is just, yeah, this is just a rental that went for 1950. Pretty sure. Or it closed at 195 and it's just a typo in the input. Probably just a typo in the input. So if we go back here, I want to see what my average days on market really looked like. And it looks like a lot of these homes, we've got a couple million, a few of these, but look at where the average price point really seems to be staying at, right? So 11 to 30, you're still sub 200. But from 30 all the way down to 91. So that's going to be 60 of the 110 homes have balance between the price point of 325 and 179. I think that's probably going to be the sweet spot because the bulk of the homes that have sold are within that price point. Anybody with me on that so far? Cool. All right. So now let's go back in and we're going to see square footage. So I'm seeing a lot of 15 to 1800s, not seeing anything too crazy, not anything like 3,000 square feet. I mean, there's an occasional anomaly or something like that. Like here's Lover's Lane. It was a 4.3 closed, a little bit low on the square footage. Let's see what the condition was. All right. So still had improvement, right? If somebody was to flip this house, if they would have went in, changed the cabinetry, put some granite in, they would have probably fetched a higher price per square foot. Also pulling the carpet, just a couple small tweaks would have really, yeah, given a better price per square foot. But I get it. Some people have different motivations, and that one sold for $73 a square foot. That was a good little deal too. Okay. Because look, it originally listed at 285. And this is the danger to a lot of people whenever you go to sell a property, not to overprice the home. If you decide to push a little bit, okay. But the original list price at 285 with 2663 on the square feet. That was 107 a square foot. And again, this sold at 73. So that's $34 a square foot adjustment is what had to happen. Now, if I'm analyzing this market for a flip, I'm going to look and see, all right, what can I do to beat that? What can I do to bring this value up? Also, another thing I look at is, are these properties that are closing, are they flood zones or not? Right. So this one, not in a flood zone. It's over here off East Southfield. I mean, I like the area. Something tells me this is going to come back on the market in a few months at a higher price. I'm going to go ahead and call it. I think that this is going to be purchased and it will be flipped. So feel free to, go back, earmark this, put a watch on it, and see if it comes back on the market here in a few months. So now, in looking at everything, if I'm trying to stay within this range, I know that I'm going to narrow my search for active homes, let's say up to 2,200, 2,300 square feet. But also, if I know that I'm targeting something under 320, I'm going to do my basic flip formula, which is MAO, right? Maximum allowable offer. And that's going to be 320 times 0.7. So 224 minus repairs is where I need to be on this, right? If I'm holding true to that formula. So now I'm going to go in here and I'm going to identify my price points. 224 minus repairs. So I need to find a home that's 224 or less. Okay. Now let's go back to active. And you see the homes now we've got 129 to choose from. But let's go ahead and put in some square feet. I'd say a minimum square foot, 1,500, and call it actually 1,500 plus. So anything like that is going to make it easier for us to maybe identify. Now we're going to go into the results because there's a very interesting metric that you need to look at for this. And that is going to be your DOM, your ADOM, which is going to be your days on market. And I don't know why my setting seems to be off. All right. I'm going to have to look and see why I'm not seeing my days on market. Well, it's a little bit more granular, but we'll go into it this way. Now I'm going to look at my map. So if I just saw this one over here well, actually we were closer over here is where the last one had sold, the one on Lovers that I told you I think is going to come back at, as a flip. I think I'm going to look over here. So I'm going to draw just some boundaries and identify where I would like to be. You know what? I think I'd be okay over here too, all the way over to Fern. This is going to give me a nice base of homes to look at. So obviously, I'm going to look for the one that has the lowest price with the high square footage that still fits what I'm looking for. Ah, that's okay. So I didn't have pool on my search before, but for some reason it's displaying pool. Oh, I'll mess with that later. So now we start going in and looking at the houses. Number one, is it in a flood zone? No. So it passes the first metric. Because personally, if I can buy a house and it's not in a flood zone, that's what I'm going to do. Okay. So this one's listed at $64 a foot, 852 Natchez Street, it's in Shreve Island. Now I'm going to just kind of scale through this quickly, right? But you can tell you're just going to need to rehab the property. It doesn't look like it would be a floor plan that would be absolutely horrible, but I would clean some of this up. I think Chuck has this listing, if I'm not mistaken. I've been watching this one for a little while. Yep. All right. So here's a little telltale sign that it's an REO. Whenever you see this tape and this winterization, and then you see the lid taped on a toilet, chances are that's an REO company that has come through and winterized the property. So they're telling you, please, for the love of all things holy, do not go and boo-boo or pee in this toilet because we don't want to have to come over here and clean it up. All right, so I'm seeing some limb backs on the roof or limb cutbacks on the roof, but no, I mean, it looks like a pretty clean remodel, right? It doesn't look like it'll be too tricky. It's 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, 2,200 square feet. Oh, Chuck does have this listing. All right. Well, now we determine ARV. Okay. Let's see. Let's say 52 Natchez, 3-1. Cool. 18 to 33 have sold. So I'm just going to run a quick dirty comp on this. We're 2,200 square feet. Here in the closed. 22 on Piermont. Check the distance. That was 175. That's still low. That's probably one that is going to be flipped just because it's a bit low. So it's probably going to be dated. Yep. Okay. I mean, it's a clean house, but dated. So it's going to impact the sell price. So that's not going to be a good ARV comp for us. I'm just going to scratch that one, see if I can keep it moving. Meadowbrook might be. Oh, let's see. Quarter acre lot. Okay, so this one's been remodeled, but it still has paneling, right? Over here on the walls. So is there some value that you could add to make it look a little bit better? Probably so. Are we still in subway tile? Yep. It's that old tile that just got resurfaced. Even down here, here's another little thing, right? So this tub, the overfill, the cover, that's missing. These are just things that you pick up after a while of looking at so many houses. Old cabinets, that's just a Formica countertop. All right, and let's see where this is at. So this one sold at 106 a square foot. We're going to hold that as a comp. Now that's telling me that I can do a little bit better. I could probably squeeze to maybe 110 a square foot. But keep in mind, there's this weird thing about appraisals. The larger a house is, the less per square foot it appraises for versus a smaller house. It's been a weird thing that I've experienced over the years. Now let's see what some of our competition looks like. Here's 825 Aniston. It's 2-story, so I mean probably not excited, but it's large. It's on the market. It's been on the market for 49 days. All right. So I think, could I make a house look better than that one? It's one of the questions that I look for whenever I'm doing this. And again, I am talking to myself a lot through this, but it's really for my new coaching student. So whenever he goes back and he plays this, and if anybody else can get value out of it, then great. I hope you love it. Let me go back and take a second to look at this before I continue. What site is this? So Tyler, this is actually the MLS. I'm a licensed realtor in these in Louisiana and in Florida. So I've got access to this, but you can take this information and you can work with your realtor to find this information. It's not anything tricky. It's just the principle of it. Let's see. And Alexis, we'll take a look at that in a little bit. I'm actually in Northwest Louisiana right now, so I'll switch over and take a glance at it. I'm going to see if I can make this a little bit larger. Actually, so Michael, I'm going to pull us off of this for right now and just do the presentation. And yep, there we go. That'll give people a better chance of viewing this. However, keep your question handy. I'm looking forward to catching up with you. All right. So going back to pulling some comps. If I'm looking at 219, I think 219 is going to be a fairly easy comp to get for the square footage. I would probably venture to say 105 to 110 a square foot for the one that I was looking at. So let's see. And that was Natchez. So 2211. We're going to go ahead and calculate our ARV. 2211. Now this is all considering that the assessment of the square footage is accurate. 2211. Let's go with 110 a square foot because we know we're going to put in some nice granite and everything. That comes to 243.10 or 243, 210. So if we know 243, I'm going to round it up to 244.9 as my ARV. So 245K. So 244.9 times 0.7. It's going to be 171,000 before I can do anything with it, right? That's as if it was turnkey and I was going to relist it. But now I have to deduct my repair. So if I go 171,430, now we estimate our repairs. So let's go back into this and dive in. Does the roof look good? I mean, it doesn't seem horrible. Whenever I'm going through the photos, one thing that I'm looking for I'm looking for stains in the ceiling that would indicate a roof leak. I don't see anything in there like that. I also don't see drip edge. Drip edge was became code in 2014. So I have a strong feeling that this roof is at least, at a minimum, at least 11 years old. So if I can go back through and take a look at some of the stacks, some of the vents, the whirlybirds, right? These little vents right here. If I see pictures that would be clear enough to indicate damage, then I'm going to start to factor in for a roof. As it stands right now, I can't write off that a roof would need to be replaced. But 2,200 square feet, you're probably looking at, I don't know. Seems to be fairly simple. We're going to add a few. I'd say, I don't know, 27, 28 squares maybe. Factoring in some waste. So if we do 28 squares at, call it 275. This is my pricing, not yours. So that's a $7,700 roof. Okay. So now I'm just going to actually put 9K just in case there's some decking, some things like that, right? Because when we estimate for these repairs, we're always going to estimate a little bit on the high end. And because that gives us the cushion to make mistakes. So I want you to understand that's what's important, giving yourself the cushion. Because if you cut everything too thin, you're going to be running the danger of going over on your budget, which is going to diminish your profit, which is going to increase your holding costs because you're going to now feel pressured to list the property even higher than you possibly should. And now it's going to sit longer on the market. So we're at 7,700 on the roof. No, typically, I didn't see anything that would indicate foundation settlement. Nothing that would concern me there. I'm talking like 5K for an appliance package, probably less. Windows, we're talking new countertops. I could probably get away with just refacing these cabinets. And I would like to. I'm talking new hardware, new doors. But the uppers and lowers, if they're good, then that'll save us some money. And I'd probably actually cut this part out. If you can see where my cursor is going. Just to open this up a little bit more, I would take this set of uppers away. We've done that in a few flips before. It really opens the space, looks nice, and people don't complain too much about a lack of storage. So by the time I come in there, that's going to be, call it $61K. A little bit of fudge built into the numbers. 70. So if you're keeping up, I was at 171,000. I've got 70K earmarked on my rehab. So now I'm at 100,000 is my offer. So right now we're about $41,000 off. Now, if you know me, you know I'm not afraid to make a low ball offer. So would I come in here and would I make an offer on this property? Probably so. The challenge with that is that a lot of the times these REOs, the asset managers, they're not going to just take a cash investor offer whenever it's that far off from their asking price. They're actually going to just wait and do a 30-day price reduction incrementally until somebody jumps. So somebody says, you know what, I'll take it for that price. Right. And a lot of the times you're going to see where it's going to go off the market, it's going to go pending. They're going to do their inspections, and then they're going to turn around and say, all right, well, I need you to cut your price a little bit more. The asset manager says, piss off, and they don't do it. And then it comes back on the market. And, that's just the game that plays. So, yeah, any questions on that process, then great. But ultimately, let's go back and we're going to look at one more thing, which is going to determine a lot of our other numbers. If we can pull this up, and it's a little frustrating because I don't have an easy way to look and average out. But let's just look and see how long these sold ones are on the market. Because the reason why I focus so heavily on sold data whenever I'm analyzing a property for a flip is I don't care what other people are asking around that property. I don't, it just doesn't matter to me because that's a speculative play. I'm looking for the data of what is sold because that's telling me what people are actually paying over there. So if you're asking, say, for $1,000 a square foot for a property, but yet all the historical data for the last 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, nothing sold over $150 a square foot. If I go and I run my numbers based on $1,000 a square foot and I fix it up real nice, I'm going to be right there with this other person asking $1,000 a square foot. Nobody's paying, right? So I'm just going to have to keep dropping the price. And eventually I'll sell for 150 a square foot like everybody else is getting for the condition of the property. So I want to know how long is it going to take me to get that sale done? So I was looking at 31 days on market. That's good. That's typical. So if I can move a few of these, 31, 10, 5, 14, 26. Okay. And here I'm going to go back and show y'all what I'm looking at there. So I'm just kind of scrolling through some of these solds. And you see right down here, DOM, that's your days on market. Cool. All right. So I don't feel like if I price it well and I rehab it to a good condition, I feel like I'm going to still be able to turn around and sell this property without sitting on the market any more than 60 to 90 days. So now I get to factor in my hold costs, which is going to be part of the 30% of the ARV calculation. All right. So when that price gets to be about $100,000, that's when we jump. And if you actually, Connor, so what you're asking if the highest number that I would offer for that is my 100,000, and that's where I'm just known to be a tough negotiator. I'm not a tough negotiator. I just stick to my numbers, right? And whenever I make the offer, that's the offer that I make and the number that I stick with. Because even after all these years, I'm still looking for ways to protect myself and my soldiers, which is my money, from going out there and losing the battle. That's all that it is. I'm going to be conservative because I also understand that I don't want to be sensitive to market shifts to where, let's say that something happens and rates go from the mid sixes, now they're at 7.5. That severely decreases my buyer pool, right? So if a lot of people were buying at, say, $400,000 homes and interest rates go up, now those people that were buying $400,000 homes are now buying $300,000 homes. Doesn't bother me too much if I've got a $300,000 home, right? But I'm losing all those buyers that were previously buying at 300. Now they're buying at 200. So whenever you diminish your buyer pool, that's less people that can afford the house that you're working to sell, which is also why I'll leave it up to other people. God love you if you go and you're a luxury flipper. Good for you. It's just not my forte, and I'm gonna go with what I'm comfortable with until I've really expanded and felt even more comfortable going into that market to offset the volatility that incurs or includes. Michael. So sorry it took me so long to get around to you, man. I hope everything's going well over your way. What are you working on?
Right now, Lee, I'm at a pause on that land deal, but I'm really getting anxious because I'm used to working on something and I'm
Yeah,
not. So I've just about cleaned up everything around my personal home, and
yeah,
I'm gonna have to get going on something because it's May.
yeah.
Yeah, so
Well, we're
uh,
actually just sending out another round of mailers in a market that we're in. So we're, you know, kicking up the lead generation right now as well. I
uh-huh.
think that that's ultimately really what it is.
Yeah,
If you're not seeing it on the MLS, have you gone to some of the local meetups there? I know
yeah,
RJ's one now.
yeah.
Yeah,
During my downtime, since I hadn't been working on any projects, I don't know
yeah,
if you noticed, but I've been kind of focusing on on sales.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, and that's one of the things that I loved whenever I started as a realtor and I left my W-2 is that if I was having a slow month,
yeah,
I just needed to go find a property buy,
yeah.
and oftentimes it had a commission attached to it. So I was able to go out there and negotiate a great deal and then pick up a commission, which kept the lights going, right? So I would say that in your situation, if you're having a difficult time, finding properties on the MLS, man, get out there and network with the wholesalers. Find some of the newbies that are coming up that they just graduated YouTube University and they're hungry. Let them be your boots on the ground, and say, look, you bring me a deal. If you only give me an address, all right, great. You can assign it to me for a $500 clip, or you can actually go in there and negotiate it. These are my numbers. This is my buy box. And now you bring me the deal. You can make as much money up to whatever my number is. If my number is to buy it at 70,000 and you pick it up for 50, I don't care that you make $20,000. Matter of fact, I celebrate it because now you're over here making good deals, which means that I can keep buying from you. So I would really now's the time that I would either really probe the MLS, call these agents, not just send blind offers because I get that and it pisses me off when somebody just sends an offer that's like, obviously 40% less than asked. And I'm like, what the hell? You couldn't even pick up the phone and give me the courtesy. Now I have to present this and I have to take this over to the seller who is going to be insulted, upset, and I have to take that, right? So, man, just pick up the phone, start calling them, say,
Mhm.
"Hey, are you open to a low ball?" If so, let me run some numbers and see what I can come up with for you. But I think that would that if you do that, you're probably just a couple days away from finding your next deal.
Okay.
It's unfortunately it's a grind. So once you get tired of like cleaning up around the house and everything else, you'll get over there, you'll hound the phone, and you'll strike a deal before the week's up. So what do you aside from that? Did you have a flip going recently, Michael, or was it just a rental that you were working on later?
The last one, it was a rental. It was actually uh, I bought it from. I did a seller finance on it. So it was a pretty good deal for me.
Yeah. If you don't mind, run me through that. What was that? What did it look like as far as the numbers? How did that shake out?
It was it was 2737 Ashton. It was located in Shreveport. It was nice, three-bedroom, one bedroom, three bedroom, one bath.
Okay.
Nice house. It was 19, and the seller gave me a promissory note on it until September of this year with a balloon payment on the end.
Okay.
So it's cash flow, which is positive. Insurance is about 184 on a 3 pay, and taxes was about what taxes this year was probably about $300 on it.
So
So
184 on 3 pay. So you're averaging out like $61 a month, something like that. Is that a replacement policy, Michael, or is that cash value policy?
replacement.
All right. All right. I'm glad when people pay attention, right? Because a lot of people they try to save that dollar, right? Because they know, well, cash value policy is going to be less. Yeah, you also have such low coverage, with that. Whenever they depreciate your roof and give you $2,000 before your deductible of $1,000, And now they're like, okay, great. Now you can go and buy your new roof. Well, you just spent, you should have gotten that to where it was replaced after your deductible, but because people are so concerned and consumed with saving that dollar up front, it costs them thousands of dollars on the back end. So smart play. I appreciate you on that. Um, what's going to be your balloon balance in September?
It should be right around $6,000.
The balloon, 6,000.
Yeah, the balloon is gonna be six, it's gonna be 6,000. It was
How
just
much did you buy the house for?
it was 19K.
19K. So you've got it paid all the way down to six. You paid 13,000.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I've been paying about 500 on it every month,
Yeah.
and it'll be September. It'll be 6,000 left on it.
Okay.
So once I make the $6,000 payment in September, that's
Yeah.
what'll be left if I continue to pay the 5 on it. It'll be a free and clear, nice 3-bedroom house.
Are they giving you an option to extend?
We agreed, no option.
Okay. Now, I would say that if of course, I'm sure you've got the six to just throw on it. However, one of the things that might help is you let them know, hey, if I give this to you, would you like it? Or I can break it up, and give it to you for another 12 months. What would be better for you? Give them that option. And if so, carry that forward. Go ahead and fully amortize that note. But I mean, only owing 6K though. And you've got a tenant in there for how much?
800 a month.
So you're still cash flowing decently, a little
Yeah.
bit, probably say $1.50 after your expenses and your note. And then once that's done, you're going to go up to about 650 on your cash flow every month.
Yeah. Yeah. I got
All right.
some on my barriers, on my opportunities. I got some for the first time. I got some vacancies on the commercial side. So I got
Okay.
two empty doors in a commercial suite that I'm finding it a little difficult to get those tenant
Are those in
occupied.
Shreveport or Bossier?
North Shreveport.
What's the use?
It's Class C commercial. The previous tenant was
Retail?
a barber, and the other suite was like a cosmetician.
Okay. And that's over there off of North Market?
Yeah, right across from the sheriff station.
Over there down by the courthouse? Or
Uh, right across from it's the Family Dollar right across the street, and then the sheriff station is right across the way.
trying to get my bearings. It's been a little while. Either way, so you had a cosmetologist and then a barber, right? So they both had two suite or one suite each. Are they still plumbed out everything else for those
Yeah,
uses?
plumbed out. I mean, separated as 3 individual suites, so it seems like there is more opportunity there to possibly lease it just 3 separate suites because each suite
Yeah.
inside a suite is set up with plumbing.
Are you offering any TI, any tenant improvement credit?
Not currently, but that's a suggestion, a good suggestion.
Yeah,
Okay,
kind
so
of.
that's you said tenant improvement credit.
Yeah, TI.
Okay.
So if you offer any kind of TI, I mean, it doesn't have to be $70 a foot or anything crazy, right? But what were you getting a month previously?
It was leasing at about $12 a square foot, and it's a
12 a foot a year.
975.
Now that was 975 per unit, or 975.
975 square feet.
So 975 for both units or per unit.
The square feet was 975 per unit, so it was
Okay,
roughly
per
like
unit. So,
maybe like $1,100, close to $1,100.
yeah. So per unit, you were 975 a month, triple net.
Straight lease.
Okay, so gross. So you still covered repairs, like if they had plumbing issue or something.
Only have it AC.
Okay, all
Only
right. So
AC.
you're
Yep.
only doing HVAC. Yeah, I was going to say if I had somebody in there like a nail salon, a hair salon, anything that's going to be heavy on my plumbing, that's on you, right?
Yeah.
So, and what you might be able to do is, let's say that there's a couple options, and maybe give them what's called a graduated rent, right? So where instead of a TI, you let them know, hey, for the first month, it's going to be 675, or the first 2 months, it's going to be 675. For the next 2 months, it's 800, and then after that, we're at full rent.
Okay.
So that gives them a chance to come in there, and they're going to have to put in their own sweat. They're going to have to do X amount, but the work has to be approved by you. But it allows them to have some budget, right? To where they can go in there, kind of make it their own setup, and give them time to launch and open, so that they're not just paying full rent out the gate. You
All right.
graduate it up, and it shows that you're working with them. But I would also not do that for anything less than a 2-year lease.
You said 3?
Nothing less than 2. Optimally, you want
Okay.
a 3-year lease, right? And then even in year 2, maybe even take it up to $13, $14, a foot. Maybe 13.50. I wouldn't get too heavy with it until
I've
they're
learned my
proving
lesson.
that it really goes. Yeah, yeah. So I think that's probably going to help you fill it out, right? But also, since it's already built out for those things, what I would do, and I mean, you probably have a busy schedule, but if you have somebody that can do the calls for you, call around to cosmetology schools, call
Okay.
around to
That's a
barber
good one.
schools, and say, hey, who's graduating, who's looking for a spot, because I've got one over here. It's already built out, minimal change needed. And they probably already have the sinks. Do they still have chairs there? Do they already pull the chairs?
There's chairs in one suite,
See,
but not the other one. But yeah.
yeah, I mean that's going to save them $400 to $600 a chair
Mhm.
just to be able to use those. So I would probably, number one, call those places and say,
Mhm.
look, I've got a great opportunity for somebody that's looking to start their own shop.
Okay. Thanks for that,
Okay.
Lee.
Yeah, I hope it helps, man.
Yeah, I really like that idea of the step up approach
Yeah,
on the monthly rents.
yeah,
And I will be calling those schools tomorrow because I have not done that.
yeah. Well, and I mean that's what it's about. We just get around and we kind of brainstorm it, right? So I would say if you do that and you get the feelers out, um, just a Google search for barber schools, cosmetology schools, and let people know that you got a space. Even if you could go by some of the schools, in sales, they call it a donut call.
Yeah.
Go and take a box of donuts with a flyer that says, "Hey, I'd like to put this up in here if y'all don't mind, but hey, here's some donuts. Whether you do or don't, I appreciate you and I hope you have a great day." And let them put those flyers up there too. So it could be good for you. Facebook Marketplace, I would say, check that out as well. Some of the buy sell trade groups around Shreveport, you put those into the Facebook groups there. Now you'll probably have a tenant within the next 2 weeks.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, well, it's because of the rate. You've got a competitive rate for the market. And then what I would do, I mean, you could probably, depending on the age of the HVAC systems, I respect your decision to keep that included. So if they're kind of aged out, then yeah, I get it. You probably don't want to put that on there because that's going to cause people to say, this thing looks 30 years old. I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna keep up on this. So if that's the case, then I might, you know, go ahead and get somebody in your pocket on deck that can cut you a good rate for a replacement and just ride it till it don't ride no more. Let's see. Anybody else? Let's see. Looking at some of these comments. So, with seller financing deals, do you make payments directly to the owner? Do you make payments through the title company, and then they make the payments to the seller? So, what you're looking for, Richard, and oftentimes, whenever it's just a handshake deal, Michael, I'm just going to make an assumption here. You're paying the owner directly, right?
Yes.
But sometimes you would be, if I was doing one, for example, I would engage a servicing company, and the servicing company would take payments from you typically via ACH, and then they'll take their little cut and then they disperse it to me. With what you're looking for is probably more of a sub two agreement. So where you would have a third party collect payment and then send the payment off to the mortgage company instead of the seller directly. Now, if that seller has a lot of owner finance deals, then they might have the systems in place for that. But typically, you'll just end up like Michael's paying that owner directly. All right. Well, is there anything else you'd like to kind of kick around? If not, shoot, I'm gonna go see what other kind of trouble I can kick up. And I'm telling you, man, whenever I come over there, we're gonna have to play. I know that I don't. I know the rule. You don't play a man on his own table. But it's been a while since I've shot pool.
Yeah, me too. This is right
And I
behind.
know it's 10 feet behind you too. So anyway, all right. Well, everybody, look, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up for tonight. I hope that some of you got some value out of this on how I analyze the market, how I look at it, and in the meantime, if there's anything that anybody needs, go ahead and plug this in there. I'm going to leave the free trial on for the community, the school community, till probably Friday. And then I'm going to turn it off, and then I'm going to take up the price. So anybody that's in the group, they're grandfathered in. So it doesn't matter if the price goes from $10 a month to $500 a month. It's going to go up. And when it goes up, I don't think it's going to go to 500, let's be honest. But if it goes to 20 to 25, the people that are already in there, they get grandfathered, they get to honor the pricing. And this is going to be the last few days I'm going to be running the free trial. So if what you're seeing here, you want more of that, then please join us. Get over there in the school community, ask your questions, engage with other fellow real estate investors, and see what we can do to grow your business. So I hope that you all had a great session. And let's see, any repairs on that? What do you thought about turning to a Section 8? Yeah, so that's actually, Connor, that is a short sell. So short sell could take up to 6 months. Still has to go for bank approval. And even then, that's when my due diligence starts. But yeah, all arrows or all roads are kind of pointing to we will be keeping that as a Section 8. Yeah, anyway, I hope that you all have a great night. And, if you do have any questions, please reach out. I'll be on stream again next week. It'll probably be Monday night just because my week next week's going to be a little bit in demand. I've got a couple engagements, one speaking event, and then a few others that I'm working on. So anyway, y'all have a great night, and we'll talk soon.